Big football clubs.
Aston Villa play at Villa Park, which for many years hosted FA Cup semi-finals, but are they a big club? Subscribe now to see how they compare with other big football clubs. Aston Villa are a club who always seem to be around, and are one of the founders of the Football League. But how big are they? Villa are in the top 6 in terms of major trophy winners, and are not far behind those in front of them. They are 9th in terms of the best attendances in the league since its inception. If we put these numbers on a graph and compare them to other clubs in the current Premier League, we see Villa amongst a cluster of other big clubs. Villa have won it all. Aston Villa have won 7 English League titles, making them the 6th most successful in this regard. Their 7 FA Cups was for a long time a record, but they now sit 5 places behind the record holders, and 5 League Cups makes them the 4th most successful for that cup. This range of titles gives them a good balance between domestic trophies, even though the bulk of these were from a long time ago. Whilst they have not always challenged for European silverware, they're one of 6 English sides to have lifted the European Cup. Villa Park is a legendary stadium and has proper supporters. In the earliest days of the Football League, there was not much difference between teams' attendances, but things quickly picked up for Aston Villa during their dominance of English football. However, they strangely peaked in 1901 when they were actually struggling in the league. Since the First World War, Villa demonstrated their size with constant strong attendances. They even had an increase during their struggles and when in the second division. From the 50s there was a steady fall in terms of support for Villa, but they managed to get average top flight attendances even when they were in the third division. It appears that improvement rather than outright success increased attendances during their difficulties in the 1970s, which was maintained during their glories at the start of the 80s. Promotion in 1989 saw recovery in attendances for a strong Villa side going into the 90s. Overall, Villa have hovered around the top flight average in the modern era, and this may well be down to not challenging for the title. Villa Park would have to grow, and for that they'd need sustained success. 82 just tops it all off. There can be no doubt as to Villa's greatest match, triumph over serial bottlers Bayern Munich in the 1982 European Cup final. The game saw heroics from goalkeeper Nigel Spink, who came on due to injury in the 9th minute in only his 2nd appearance and remained first choice for 10 seasons. This was also the last of 6 consecutive wins for English clubs in the competition. Villa have had some of the best players. Aston Villa's glory days were at the end of the 19th century, so we don't know enough about their legendary sides then, but we can select later legends to make a best 11. Billy Walker remains top scorer from his time in the 1920s and played alongside Tom Pongo Waring. Villa also boast the first fullback to score a league hat-trick in Stan Lynn, and left back from the 70s Charlie Aitken. Not surprisingly, we have selected 6 players from Villa's championship winning side from 1981 who also went on to lift the European Cup the following year. Finally, still popular at Villa Park is legendary defender Paul McGrath. McGrath is the only player from more recent times who would fit into this side. Villa are the original champions and have ruled Europe. Aston Villa had one of the best starts in English football history, winning the FA Cup before the league had even started. By the beginning of the 20th century, they'd won 5 league titles and 3 FA Cups, but moving on a few years often came runners-up in the league. In the interwar years, they won the FA Cup and finished runners-up twice, but suffered their first relegation in 1936. They quickly recovered, but this is a period in which they went for 27 years without a trophy. From the late 50s, Villa had a roller coaster ride of it. 2 cups either side of relegation and promotion, followed by a fall all the way down to the 3rd division. Too big to stay there for too long, they won the League Cup while still in the 2nd division. When back in the First Division, they won another League Cup and showed amazing powers of recovery to win the league in 81, followed by the European Cup in 82. This remarkable success was not sustained in the 80s, but after promotion again, Villa came second twice and won trophies in the 90s. They've mostly been present in the Premier League ever since, but have not been close to challenging for the title. Aston Villa are amongst a group of trailblazing clubs who made league football what it is today. From the outset, Aston Villa stamped their authority on the domestic game, but most of this record is over 100 years old. They have not consistently challenged in Europe, but becoming European champions made them renowned forever. Support over the ages has been strong enough, though they are no longer able to match the biggest crowds in England. As so much of their success is historic, we may not be able to reflect on a lot of their big games in the past, but they have certainly left their mark on the modern game. They've always had players to compete against any English side, but perhaps are lacking in depth of world-class stars. What is clear is that when they have struggled, they've always found ways to make a comeback, and at times with flair. And it is this that makes them one of England's
big football clubs.
Whilst Villa are famous outside of Birmingham, are Birmingham City more loved than Villa in the city itself?
Please comment below. Like and subscribe to Big Football Clubs to watch videos as they're released each week.